thing, we'll try to see the lab setup options. Probably here the lab setup wise, to verify, I'm going to use three routers. The router 1 is acting as my branch office, which is expected to receive the default route automatically. And the router 2 is the head office, from where we'll configure the static default route. And as we are not connecting to the real internet, I'm going to simulate one router, which is simulating my service provider, or you can simulate as internet. And there are some loopback interfaces connecting on the router 3. I'm going to assume these are my internet routes, like Yahoo, Google, whatever the routes you can assume. So these routes I'm not advertising, because normally you don't get the default route, you don't get any internet routes into your routing table, but I still should be able to access these routes. That's how we are going to verify here. Okay, so this is how the setup is. You can see the default topology, the one which I use for my normal labs. So the same IP addressing, it is pre-configured, and the router 1, 2 are running OSPF here. Like in general, the normal configuration will be like your head office and the branch offices will be running OSPF routing. Probably here, this part will be running OSPF. Of course, you may have many other branch offices in your normal scenarios, but here we are just using only 2. So we do have the OSPF configurations running between router 1 and router 2. And on the router 2, which is my head office, to provide the reachability to the ISP, I'm going to configure the default route. So this is the default route pointing towards the service provider. That is on the router 2 here. But now the question is, in the real scenarios, what happens is when you are connecting your head office to the service provider, you configure the default route. And of course, you also do some kind of NAT, network address translations, because whatever the addresses we use, these are all maybe your private IP addresses. And any packet sourced with the private IP is not received on the internet. So service provider will discard those packets. So basically you translate this with a public IP. Let's say these all will translate with the public IP. And then the packet reaches the internet and reaches the Yahoo server, wherever it is. And when the packet is running back, the service provider should know how to route the packet back here. So the service provider should know how to route the packet back to this router. So which means in this scenario, mostly service providers run some kind of BGP routing to learn the routing information, or maybe it's some kind of static routing again. So again, it depends upon the mutual understanding between the service provider and the customer. Again, that depends. We are not getting into this part here, probably. So, but again, here also the problem comes when we are implementing and verifying. So based on the default route, the packets will go to the head office, and the head office will again route the packet to the ISP based on the static default route. But the router 3 also should know how to route the packet back, because when we generate the ping and verify, there must be some kind of end-to-end routing to verify. So just to provide that, anyway, this setup, whatever I just discussed, the NAT one, I'll again show you a little bit later on. But just to make it simple, what I'll be doing is I can either just go and configure the static routes, because when I generate a ping request from the router 1, the source address will be either 1.network if I ping from this interface, or if I ping from a LAN interface, it will be either 10.network. So destination address will be this address 13, which is simulating my internet. Means the packet will go based on the default route here, the reach, and the router 3 should know how to route the packet back, so that when I send a ping request, the reply should come back. Just for the sake of that, I'm configuring the static route here. Of course, this static route will be for the public IPs in the real scenarios, and additionally there will be NAT configured on the edge device for that. So either you can do this way, or if you just want to make it more simple, you just advertise this interface and this interface also in OSPF. So there are other options, because when you advertise this interface in OSPF, automatically these routes will be advertised here, and the router 3 knows how to route the packets back again. But don't advertise this, because these are my internet routes. Just to make it simple, you can do this way or this way. It's up to you again. So this is one kind of slight adjustment we have to make for testing. But as I said, in the real scenarios, probably the router 3 will have a static route or the BGP route for the public IP, whatever we use. And there will be a NAT translation where all your addresses will be translated to the public IP. So that is kind of the real scenario setup. That kind of setup I'll show you in the later on. But initially, I want to set up the things and verify based on one simple example here, the simple example with a simple scenario. So let's go ahead and see the same thing. I do have these three routers connected the same way, router 1, 2, 3, and I got the consoles. And if you verify on the router 1, I think the OSPF is not configured. So if I verify, so we'll start with the OSPF configuration. So we'll advertise the 10 dot network, which is my LAN, and 1 dot network, which is my WAN. And likewise on the router 2 also, we'll go and say router OSPF 1. And I'm going to advertise the 1 dot network, which is connecting between router 1 and the router 2. And then 20 dot network, which is connecting between them. And that's the first thing what we'll do, the router 1 and router 2 configuration. So I'll be using this default route and this one. I'm not using this. So the next thing what I'll do is I'll configure the static default route from my router to the service provider, and then of course I'll configure the static routes back to 1 dot network and 10 dot network. So this is to provide end-to-end reachability. So the first step is head office should have a default route. So we'll go to router 2 and configure the default route towards the service port. So in my case, the service port is 2.2.2.2, that is router 3 here in my example. But again, I'll also configure. So once you configure the default route, that's you can verify here on the router 2 itself. If I go and verify on the router 2, if I say show IP route static, we should see the default route. And if I try to reach 13.001, even though they are not in my routing table, I'm able to reach, because the router 2 based on the default route, when I'm trying to ping to 13.001, so it is unknown, not present in my routing table. So it will route based on this default route. It will send to router 3, and router 3 knows where is 13 because it is connected. In the real scenarios, it knows through BGP other protocols. So basically the service provider maintain the routes on the internet with the help of some BGP protocol. So here we are able to reach those 4 loopbacks which are pre-configured on the router 3. So if you check the router 3, you can say show IP interface brief. Now these are the 4 loopbacks which I'm testing as my internet routes. So if I go to router 2 and try to ping to any one of those interfaces, we should be able to ping to them. Of course 4 I cannot ping because I don't have 4. But you can see still, even though if I trace 172.16 also, it will go to router 2. Of course it will drop over there. But that is not what I want. Anyway, this will ensure that the router 2 can access these routes based on the default route. That is more like a normal static routing. But I want this default route should also be advertised to the router 1 as well. Now to do that, what we'll be doing is we'll be configuring the default information originate. So configure the router 2, that is my head office, to provide the reachability to the internet routes. In my example, the 13 dot networks. That should be advertised in my OSPF domain. So we simply go and say default information originate. So let's go to router 2. But again, before I do that, I'll also configure the static routing because I missed that. I'll configure this part. Because when we are verifying, we should have some reachability end-to-end. Anyway, later on, I'll also configure the NAT and I'll show you that, the configuration as well. So 1 dot network, what is the IP? 2.2.2.1 and then 10.1. Because when we send the pings, the ping should work. So So before we go ahead and verify, if I go on router 1 and if I check the routes, if I say show IP route, so I do have the connected interfaces and OSPF network, but there is no default route. That's the reason if I try to ping from the router 1, that should not work. But once we configure the default information originate on the router 2, that should work. So let's go to router 2. So on the router 2, what I'm doing, I'm saying S asterisk should be advertised, the default route should be advertised in the OSPF as well. So we'll go and say default information originate command. There are other options as well. We'll talk about this later. So the simple option, we just say default information originate means whatever the default route I have. So I do have already a default route. So this default route should also be advertised inside my OSPF domain. So once I do this, if I go and verify now, of course I should be able to ping. And why I'm able to ping? Because if I verify my routing table, if I say show IP route OSPF, I automatically see there is a default route learn. So default route, this is actually metric type, E1 and E2. I'll talk about that later. So there's a default route comes here, which is 0000, which means if any unknown network, if you try to send, like if you try to see the trace, how I'm getting to reach this one, because the router 1 says, I don't know where is 13.001. It's not in my routing table. But as per my routing table, it says you have to go via 1.1.1.2. So the packet goes to this one. And once it reaches the router 2, of course, on the router 2, we do have a static default route. And the router 2 says to reach 13.001, you should go to this one based on the static default route. And the packet reaches router 3, and router 3 will route back again based on the static routes here. That's how it works. So this way we can advertise multiple branch offices with these routes here options. And additionally, if you are trying to trace, or if you just try to trace to this route, or even if you try to trace any unknown network, you still see this goes from 1.1.1.2 to 2.2.2, and then it will drop here. But because I don't have this network, but this will ensure that any unknown packet will automatically reach to router 3. So you can see you can verify the reachability here. So it works here.